thoughts and make sure that your ambition and charisma is heard by other people that have the same interests, because that's the people that are the listeners of Sucio Talk, right? So when it comes to the business of yourself, you have to keep your success in mind, but also not stay true to yourself and not change, right, so much. So with that being said, this podcast will continue to be called Sucio Talk, and I will continue to use the moniker David Sucio, because it does not denote the sanitation in which I work in, right? It's a state of mind. It's a personality. It's a cognitive thinker moving quickly, right? It's like you're on the highway going 80 miles an hour, but you are ingesting everything that you're seeing, everything that you're thinking, right? And absorbing the world around you in order to make decisions about what the fuck you need to do to be successful to get through the day-to-day. I just listened to... I finished the book by David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me, and goddamn, that is an inspirational story. I've been following him on Instagram for a couple years now, and I think he's an amazing human being and a person that's always doing the things he's preaching every day. You know, I just woke up this morning, you know, me thinking, hey, I woke up early, I went for this hike, I did shit today. This motherfucker's doing 40 minutes of straight jumping jacks. I can't even do fucking 1 minute of straight jumping jacks while falling down. You know what I'm saying? That might be an exaggeration. I think I could pull 2 minutes. But that's the sort of perseverance that this man has. And so I highly recommend that book, David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. Also this week I watched a movie called Papillon. Alright? They made a remake with Rami Malek and... That's weird. It's basically about this guy named Papillon. If you don't know the word, it means butterfly in French. And he had a butterfly tattoo on his chest. And it's basically a great prison escape story. But the classic has Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman. It's an incredible movie. And it's one of those movies that when people talk about great movies and the cinematic effects and not just that, but the symbolism and the movement of the story is all there. It's a super good movie, well crafted, and even though it's a little slow to start, it keeps you engaged. You know, I mean, there's a couple scenes where he's in solitary confinement, and let's be honest. Solitary confinement is probably the worst thing that can happen to you as a human being. But in a movie, it's not that interesting. You know, it's one man in one room, and the way they were able to produce that and make a compelling scenes was insane. So as I said, I've been getting back into movies, and that's a movie that I watched this past week here. Well, that's enough of that. On to the episode. Chef Jake Rojas. I love this man with all my heart. Shout out to his kids and his wife, Kellyanne Maurice, who was the front of the house manager at Tallulah on Thames when I worked there. And honestly, when I tell you this man changed my life, he changed my life. He gave me the discipline that I did not have. Right? I would much rather be a lazy person at this time. I wasn't lazy, I got shit done, but I definitely wasn't hustling 110%, 120%. And I think he showed me that I had other energy levels to tap into in order to become a better cook and become a better chef. And this was one of those guys that would tell you, I'm not here to train cooks, I train chefs. And he gave me that respect of an adult man at 20 years old, whereas before that, you're treated like a kid. And where you go, you're like, yeah, whatever. And if Trattoria Simpatico was a great restaurant, but, let's be honest, if there was something that was a little fucked up, it would go out, because you're so busy. You're doing 600 covers in 4 hours. There's no way, especially with, 4 line cooks and the chef expediting, that you are going to have enough hands, enough energy for 4 straight hours of 600 covers to make the best food possible. No, those restaurants exist. But let me tell you something. 6 people don't work that line. You know what I mean? So if you're ever in Providence, Rhode Island, check out Tallulah's Taqueria. All right. Next week, I moved the schedule around a little bit. I'm gonna have my cousins on next week. This is Natalie Rojas and Manny Valerio. It's a very cool story. They're not chefs; they're tattoo artists. But they talk about sort of what made them, or what made him do that. Basically, the way it is Manny, he did my sleeve. My cousin Natalie married him, so now he's my cousin by marriage, right? He gave me my first tattoo, and ever since then, he's basically done my whole sleeve. And this past time when I was in Connecticut, Natalie tattooed my arm, because she also started doing tattoos a couple years ago. They opened a shop. She does eyebrows, all types of shit. So they're cool as fuck. And nothing was cooler than being able to record a podcast while getting tattooed at the same damn time. All right? So please enjoy that episode coming next week. You guys enjoy your day. Enjoy your commute. I'll see you next week on Sucio Talk. Bye-bye. What am I saying bye for? The episode's next. It's right after this music. Sucio Talk, episode 14. Please enjoy.
Alright, here we are. Sucio Talk, episode 14. I got Chef Jake Rojas up in this house. We're in Tallulah's Taqueria in Providence, Rhode Island. I was the first ever prep cook for the taco car, the first taco car, first rendition of this that you had. Chef, how the fuck are you?
Fucking amazing.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm glad that you're here and that you're still alive.
Yeah, for sure. Chef met me at a time when he didn't know if I was going to make it or not, and I didn't know either. So, but he definitely saved my life a little bit. So
and here you are.
I'm happy for that. So I've talked a lot about you on the podcast. People sort of know, that you were the main mentor in my chef life, and the reason why I chose to move on to other restaurants that were better, higher caliber. You were the first one that said, if you want to be the best, you got to go work with the best, and also the first to accept nothing but perfection and the best work out of me. That so you definitely knew coming into your spot that you were at a better spot than you were. And there's nothing against Trattoria Simpatico or my tenure there or whatever, but when I was like, I need to look for a better restaurant, I knew when I landed at your spot that I was at a better restaurant. So
Killer.
Yeah, for sure. But here at Sucio Talk, we're going all the way back to when you were a little niño. So where are you from, Chef?
I'm born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I'm a Tejano.
All right, there you go.
A border kid, I grew up on the border. Life is fast on the border. You learn shit the hard way. It is definitely the school of hard knocks on the border. I was fortunate enough to fall into the mix with the wrong people at all the right times, and I was able to survive that. But all joking aside, growing up in Paso, I was exposed to food at a young age, which was awesome. My family all cooked. Everyone kind of had a part in cooking. My old man cooked a lot. My mom was always cooking. You know what I mean? So I was kind of always around. Home cooked meals, I was kind of, it was kind of always a thing. We didn't eat really fast food much at all, ever. You know what I mean? And El Paso is kind of like the land of like Tex-Mex, but not so much. You know what I mean? It's one of the largest ports of entry into the U.S. from Mexico. So I was a walk away from walk into Mexico, and as a 13-year-old kid with an 18-year-old ID, it was the life.
He started early. 13 years old, getting fucked up in Mexico. Here we go. So that's all for all you 12-year-olds that are out there playing on your phone. Just remember, life could be a lot better. You know what I'm saying? So your dad, Mexican, your mother,
not Mexican.
Got you.
Yep.
So how did that play a role in what you ate? Like, obviously you said your dad cooked, your mother cooked. Was it totally different? Were they cooking from their cultures, or did they kind of like?
So what a lot of it was my old man wanted the Mexican classics, so my mom had to learn how to make the Mexican classics, right? So I'm talking enchiladas. I'm talking about a good rice and a good bean. Mm-hmm. You gotta have those are staples. Right? How to make tortillas? Like you gotta. If you can't do that, you know what I mean? Like you're SOL. But anyway, so she got really good at that. But my mom's family is Polish, so her cooking every once in a while would be like gołąbki and pierogis and borscht and like straight up Polish things.
Yeah.
And smoked kielbasa. There's a lot of little Polish kielbasa places in Texas. There's a large group of Polish especially in West Texas that are killer at making kielbasa. So there was a lot of that growing up. But in general, I feel like it was typically rice and beans every day with the protein and always some kind of jalapeno or pickled chili or whatever. But that was just it. Menudo on Sundays, every Sunday. My mom would give me the pot for menudo. I'd go down to the corner store, and you would get your pot filled up for menudo. They charge you by the pot, and you buy a stack or two of corn tortillas fresh, and some bolillo bread, which is like a nice white fluffy like torta sandwich style bread. That's just like
sweet.
Yeah, sweet, but it soaks up the juice. So, but that was the weekly get up. You know what I mean? But my old man was all about like he wanted to be a world traveler, but just never got the chance.
I hear you.
So we did a lot of traveling through food. There was a lot of him messing around with pasta, and him messing around with Greek food, and him just wanting to try new foods.
Things,
and he was just always into trying new stuff.
Fuck yeah. So that sort of got into you a little bit. And,
for sure. Yeah, it made me realize that food is more than just sustenance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a level of skill involved in it, and a level of love that you need to have. And then sort of, when did you first start working in kitchens?
Yeah. It was in 96 or 97, I think it was. I had just gotten in some serious trouble, and I landed myself in this dropout recovery, vocational school. That half day was vocational, and the other day was kind of this accelerated learning thing, because at that point I was probably a junior, and I maybe had like 2 or 3 credits.
Yeah.
I wasn't
We're
excelling.
not at school.
No, I wasn't there ever. And I thought that maybe I could go to this program and speed through it and bang it out and schmooze my way through. And for the most part, I was able to do that. But the other half day was a vocational. So when I'm sitting in the office with my mom, I remember the day, very vividly. Sitting there with her, she's pissed off that I'm in trouble, that we're even there, right? And the counselor sitting across the desk, and she says, welcome, all the BS. These are the programs we have to offer you: CAD drawing, cosmetology, mechanics, engineering, graphic design. This is early, mid 90s or whatever. And I wasn't really into any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then she throws out culinary arts. I'm like, what's culinary arts? I've always kind of been an artistic, creative person, I've always had an eye for that kind of stuff.
So
you
when
know
she
what I
said
mean?
art, you were
Yeah, I was
what?
like art. I was like, okay, I'm into art. What is it? And she's like, oh, art, culinary arts. That's the, it's where we teach kids the foundation of classical French cookery.